Okay, hello everybody. Here's an update on where things stand with the layout. I've been working on building some structures for the layout and have most of them built, although none of them fully completed at this point. But I want to kind of go through kind of an overview of the buildings that I'm working on and what I'm planning on doing with everything. Most of the kits are DPM. There's one Kato kit there, or it's not a kit, but like a pre-built structure there in the back corner. And then in the background here I have a Walther's kit. This is the Variety printing background kit, and I've have everything built in terms of the external structure, but I don't have the windows completed yet and any details yet put in place. What I did with this one is there's some extra pieces in the box that come with it, and so I basically built like sort of an extension on this side on the right hand side there of the structure. I went ahead and painted everything a brick color, kind of actually a mix of a couple different reds and browns, just with the rattle can spray paint. And then I went ahead and covered everything with blue masking tape, cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And there's these gray areas here are raised up, so it's pretty easy to cut straight lines with an X-Acto knife and a ruler. And basically then, after the rest of the tape was pulled off and just the brick areas were masked, I sprayed everything sort of a concrete color, again using rattle can spray paint, and pulled the masking tape off, and this is what I have left. I do have to do some mortar, or do a wash on here for the mortar, of course weathering, and paint the windows and install those. Fix up a couple areas. This is actually a 3-story building. I cut the lower level off and added a foundation to it, but I have to fill in this area here and kind of repaint that. Anyway, that's coming along. This structure here is, I can't remember, it's one of the hotel kits. It's Hilltop Hotel or something like that. And I painted the front sort of a whitish, off-white color. The sides and back are sort of more of a common brick color. I haven't done any work on the windows or anything else yet, but that's coming along. And then I am going to have some buildings basically set up as flats, essentially, where you'll see just the backs, and then others where you'll see the fronts. And so some of them I actually cut in half. This building here was the this here was the Bruce's bakery kit from DPM, and I cut that one sort of in 2/3 for the back and 1/3 for the front, and I'll have them in different areas in the top section there. And again, the back part is just sort of a basic brick color, which again has to be finished with mortar joints and the windows and windowsills and that kind of thing. And I did that with another kit as well. Basically created a background flat. Just use a piece of styrene to sort of close the box essentially. Those will basically be backs for of buildings that you'll see. And then the front of the Bruce's Bakery, I'm working on that. Made some good progress. This one, how I basically painted this one thus far was to paint the entire building, again, that basic sort of tan brick color that's going to be the side and back bricks. And then I masked off the sides with masking tape, basically putting tape on both of the sides to cover those areas. And then I spray painted everything this sort of red-brown brick color. And then I put masking tape across those areas, and then I spray painted everything sort of an off-white color to basically paint the cornice and the lower sections of the structure, and pull the tape off. And I ended up with some pretty nice crisp lines. I got the 3 colors, everything looked pretty good. And then I went through with a micro brush and some gray Model Master acrylic paint, and just painted the very tops of these window details, the window ledges, and as well as the, can't really see with the light here, but the inside bottom there. And I didn't bother to actually paint the windows themselves. I did apply a gray wash across everything to kind of fill in the mortar lines and everything, and so it's looking pretty good. The one problem with DBM kits is if you've built them before, well, there's actually a couple problems. The one problem is that the actual building pieces, here's an example here, they're, if I can get back to focus there, they're, might be kind of hard to tell, they're not exactly square. So you always have to make sure that you get sandpaper and sand these things square. Otherwise, you're not going to end up with a square, or a perfectly rectangular building. You're going to have your walls all wonky if you don't sand those square. But other than that, you know, there's usually some flashing to cut off and everything, but they go together pretty easily otherwise. But since everything is molded in, painting the details can be tricky. And so one tip is, if you're not, you know, convinced of your skills to paint things like the windows very well, you know, a good thing to do is just to not paint them. Try to just paint, like I've done here, just paint the window sills and, you know, whatever top details I have. And with those, I only painted the front. I didn't try to paint the edges of those, because I would end up getting paint on the bricks, and you know, you're not going to be able to see that very easily anyway, unless you look really closely at the building. But if you just paint the top, or you know, paint the front edges, it looks, you know, from front on it looks good, and you know, you don't risk making a mess of the brick structure, or the, you know, the actual brick on the building. And I may eventually come back and try to paint some of these windows in the front, but I may just leave it as it is, you know, since it's better to have detail missing that looks bad, or you know, that would look bad, than to try to add the detail and have it look bad. So it may kind of just quit while I'm ahead with this one. I have to obviously still apply the window glazing and, you know, some curtains and shades and things like that. I don't know if I'll do any interior details on this or not, but I am going to have at least part of this building lit as well, so I have to work on putting the interior lighting into this kit here. And then here is a actually, this was not the Bruce's Bakery. This was a different kit. This was the Hayes Hardware kit, not the Bruce's Bakery. Here is the Bruce's Bakery kit from DPM, and again, the same thing. I painted everything the base brick color, masked the sides off, and then painted the red color. I have not done the gray wash for the mortar joints yet, so it does look pretty bright. Once I do that, it will basically end up looking the same as this, so you can kind of get an idea of the impact of just doing the gray wash on there, how that really you know, tones down the bright brick color there considerably. And then I painted the other details sort of a darker gray color. And like the other one, I'll go ahead and hit the sills and such around the windows with some gray paint, and then I may eventually paint the windows, or I may just leave them to avoid making a mess of things. And then, of course, have to do the wash for the mortar joints and the roof details and all of that, and go from there. This kit here is the, let's see, it's the Corner Apothecary, and I actually have two of these kits. They'll be in different areas. I painted them different colors, and one I added the cornice on top, and the other one I did not. And this one here has had the gray wash put on for the mortar joints. I do still need to go and work on the windows. One thing I tried doing on here, which was a little bit different, and I think actually maybe works pretty well, I went ahead and did a pretty heavy gray wash, and I put a couple coats of that on around the windows. And so the gray wash settled into, if you can kind of see that, it basically settled into all the window frames and gave them sort of a gray color like they would if I had actually painted them. And then I basically took a sponge, just, you know, a simple sponge brush, and basically kind of patted, you know, along the surface to soak up the extra gray paint that was on the bricks, without having it touch the actual window frames, which are recessed. And that allowed them to stay a more gray color while, you know, allowing more of the red to show through on the bricks. So that actually is not a bad way to, you know, get color on the window frames and have the bricks still look good. And so I'm probably going to try that on other buildings. And then again, I'll come through with just a micro brush and hit these window sills and get them painted that way with sort of a similar gray color to what I used for the mortar wash. So I think that's going to look pretty good. Again, I have to paint the roofs and add air conditioning units and vents and all that kind of stuff to those. And that's pretty much it. And then I'll have a video on how I'm arranging everything on the top section of the layout, and I have to still finalize where I'm going to have all my roads and get all that put in there, so I can finalize exactly where I'm going to have everything put and get sidewalks built and everything else. But anyway, it's slow progress working on these buildings. They they take a lot of time, and I have a long way to go to get these things done. But I have made some progress. I want to kind of give an update on that, and I'll have another update here once I make some more progress on getting these buildings finalized, and maybe how I do some of the lighting and that kind of thing in them. But anyway, that's where things are at, and thanks for watching. Bye.